Hi,
We're
good
back.
morning. Welcome back.
It's great to see everyone again. I'm Ari. I work here at Adobe on the Adobe Fonts team, and we have Kladi from Printmysoul.
Hello.
She's here from Manchester, UK, where
Yes.
she runs her own studio.
Mm-hmm.
We've been working on branding and identity design throughout this whole week. It's going to be the same topic. Yesterday we had 3 amazing streams. We started off, and then we had a couple more ladies. So always in the morning, like yesterday and today, 8:30 a.m., tune in to Kathleen doing the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge, 9 a.m. us, and 11 there's Julia Masalska, hosted by Jasmine, and 1 p.m. Whitney Anderson and Danielle.
Love to
So-
see a full lady lineup.
Yeah.
That's so amazing.
So that's happening again today and tomorrow, so stay tuned. There's so much going on. And I want to say hello to everybody. Hi,
Hey,
Melissa.
UK.
Oh, that's Jake. He's a designer on our team.
Hi, Tony. Nice to see so many people from the UK today.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Hi, Dee. Hi, Michael. Hi, Wakar. Hi, Frederick. Hi, Tony. Sandeep. Of course, we have the first person noticed that I am part green screen. Thanks, Jake. So I've decided to become one with the design.
Yeah, she's
And-
like a super inclusive host. I felt so honored. She was wearing my
Yeah.
design today.
I'm very, I take on the design that you give me, and it's all part of the rainbow. So
Amazing. Amazing.
I
Thank
just
you
want
so
everyone
much.
to know that they're
Thank
included.
you so much.
Yes.
It's
And
actually I'm
International Women's Month, we're including everybody.
Yeah, it's actually like probably I should do a T-shirt like that because it looks very nice. on
Yeah,
you, so-
but it only works in this room.
And you can actually move it and change it because it's a pattern, so you can actually
Yeah, I can go
look
up
at
here.
that. That's like the T-shirt of the future, honestly. Can you imagine that you move around and you got your pattern moving with you?
I would love that. We need to design that.
We're launching a new project here.
As long as you do a mock-up, it's already half done. It's almost real.
Oh, that's so cool.
Hi, Anel. Hi, Cecilia. Cecilia's laughing. Hi, Priyanka, Helmut, Alexandra. It's great to see everyone here. A lot of people that have been joining the last couple days, or I've seen you before. Let us know if you're new to Adobe Live. If this is your first time joining, we would love to welcome you and give you a special shout out.
Yeah, it's nice to see so many people back. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna start with a little intro. Of course, it's gonna be way shorter than yesterday because I'm sure you've seen enough yesterday. And if you were not with us yesterday, you can always go on the replays.
Yeah.
So if you want to learn more about me, definitely I'll suggest to go and have a look at the replays, which I believe is behance.net /live/replay as well.
Yeah, so we're on Behance right now, and if you look at the top of your screen and it says replays
God,
right
actually,
there.
the replays-
Actually, you see it right
Actually, I
there.
have a replays going at the moment. So yeah, that was us yesterday. Wow, this is very meta.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's start again real quick. I had a lot of questions about where I was from. So I'm from Italy, and I just mentioned very, very briefly that I'm from the south of Italy, but I'm actually from a very beautiful place. And I managed to find some picture of my hometown on Adobe stock, which I found really amusing. So I'm just gonna share it with you guys. So I moved to Manchester, UK, in the beautiful rainy weather, grey weather of Manchester, from this lovely little village in the south of Italy, which is a really, really beautiful place to go and travel if you want to. But in terms of like technology and creative scene, we're a little bit behind.
Career opportunities are not the same.
Well, unless you want to be a fisherman or fisherwoman, which is a
Oh,
great
yeah.
job. I mean, you gotta spend a lot of time in the nature, but it wasn't what I wanted
not
to
your
do.
cup of tea,
No.
as we say.
Not
in
my
the
cup
UK.
of tea. I needed to get into the UK to get my cup of tea.
I just want to say hi to Andrew because it's his first time, and Frederick.
Oh,
Welcome.
hi, Sebastian. Look at that. Nice to see so many friends today. Thank you so much for
Oh,
joining.
and Massimiliano, buonasera.
Buonasera. Well, buongiorno here. It's morning
Yeah,
here. But
buongiorno.
buonasera a te, Massimiliano. Oh, it's so nice. Yesterday we got to speak Greek, Italian, Spanish, a little bit of
Yeah.
Arabic, I think.
Who knows what else? Let us know things we can say in your language.
Look at that. Is little Studi?
As long as they're just greetings and nothing else.
This is Salento. I found this image. Someone is asking which area it is. I just searched for Salento, which is the area of the south of Italy where I'm from. It's exactly the tip of the hill in front of Greece. So that's it's not a region, it's a name of an area. The city where I'm from is called Lecce. And if you speak Spanish, it's like
milk?
Like milk in Spanish. But of course, we're in
milk
Italy.
City.
So it doesn't really mean that.
Does it mean anything in Italy?
No, not that I know of.
Is it
Probably
L-E-C-C-E?
Is L-E-C-C-E.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a dyslexic, so that was really hard. Yeah, so one of the reasons why I wanted to introduce this image as well is because we just had a segment speaking about the Photoshop challenge, and yesterday we reviewed some really amazing work. And it was really interesting and really inspiring to see the take that you guys have on the project. And I just wanted to share with you, like, you know, I'm in the chat. I'm pretty much one of you the majority of the time, and I do take on the Photoshop challenge. And since we were speaking about, you know, my hometown, oh, look at that. Sorry, I just got distracted because I just read, I'm from Foggia. Hi, Antonio. Ciao.
Is that
lots of Italian?
Near
Yeah. It's just a couple hours north, a couple hours
you
drive.
have all these friends.
Yay! Hi, everyone.
You can go
from
to
Italy.
Liverpool, or he can visit you in Manchester too.
So yeah, we realized that the south of Italy moved into the north of the UK. Everyone is in Liverpool, Manchester.
Very compatible climate.
Yeah, well, yeah. Can't you notice? just like the UK. Blue sky and amazing turquoise water.
That's funny.
So that was my take on the Photoshop challenge. I actually found this picture of the dome of my city, which is already very beautiful as it is. And again, all these images are in Adobe stock. So I strongly recommend, you know, just to have a browse on the Adobe stock library and see if you can find the place where you're from. Because I found it very exciting to find these beautiful pictures.
Yeah.
So what I did, I actually used the technique that I learned during the stream myself to create this postcard. So I've done a little bit of a composite there. Like I'm a very big fan of space.
Was that the same image?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So I just took a little bit more dramatic.
Wow,
feel.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
So that was a Photoshop challenge.
That was a Photoshop challenge. I believe when Jesus Ramirez was doing his a Photoshop composite, and I'm not like, Photoshop is probably one of the apps that I use less. Because again, like I'm a print designer and I work a lot in Illustrator and InDesign, and that's what we're gonna do today as well. There is a little Spider-Man here hiding as well.
Oh.
If you go on my profile, yeah, I like to put a little bit of this like eye candy distribute around. But yeah, you can see the difference. You can get to do a lot. And the reason why I'm also showing you my Photoshop challenge is because, you know, we want to see your work. So make sure that you go and look at the challenge and submit your work. And also, besides us and having a review, it actually prompted me to start a personal project. Again, yesterday I was stressing how important it is to follow your passion and just dedicate time about what you like. And then you can always, you know, interfere in a very positive way into your workflow. So, for example, I'm a great fan of space and plants. Like we seen yesterday, I published even a book about plants. So I decided to take my Photoshop challenge into, you know, working with plants and space, and I create this composite, these collages which are like planet, you want to call it?
So you were inspired by that work you did with the starry sky.
Yeah, so that was my Photoshop challenge, and I was like, oh, actually, that's so cool. I had no idea that you can create such photo composite. I was literally experimenting, and I wasn't overly happy. You know, that was just done. We know that you don't have much time during the live to do that. So, but just have a go and try to do something, because then it will lead to something like that. So that was the next day. I was so inspired that I decided to follow up on what I was learning, and I created a series of postcards. And they actually brought me some work, because I got clients just contact me and be like, oh, can you do some photo retouch for us? That looks amazing.
That's awesome.
I had people that wanted to buy the postcards, which are not for sale. I've not printed them, but you know, I think that it's so nice to have a personal project that brings
These
me
are
work.
so beautiful. I love them.
And again, like I would have never done it unless I was watching a live.
Yeah.
And that's like, I want to share, because I had some comment of, you know, feel free to message me in private as well. You're going to find me in the chat probably during next live as well, because I really enjoy to see the live and how useful they are to learn new technique. But going back to everyday, you can find the majority of the work that I do alongside my colleagues Maria and Maggie that I hope are gonna be with us today at some point as well. They were with yesterday. But you can see what we do on our Behance page. I just have few of my project here. I'm in the process of updating the page with new work. This is the work that we looked at yesterday. Again, feel free to go on the replays for that. At the end of our segment, so tomorrow, you're gonna have full file with templates. The entire collection of templates that we've been working on today will actually be available. So again, the mood boards, we're gonna see the brand guidelines, how to present to the client. I'm very happy to share that with you guys. I had again some messages yesterday in private and like, Kladi, can you send us this? Instead of send this privately, I'm just gonna create a full project. So if you follow us through tomorrow, which is gonna be our last day, you'll be able to download that. I'm sure it's going to be available in the chat as well tomorrow, the file with all the templates. But again, you can follow me on the social media. You can find all the link on the studio page. So you just have to hit us there and we'll be able to connect with you. So feel free to message all the time. We're really happy to give you feedback if you want to feedback on projects, even like university project. That's what we do. Once a month in our studio, we're just trying to find time to review student project. It's so inspiring for us.
Paul says, I'm really excited to see the exporting process. I need to learn what files and sizes to use.
Yeah, that's gonna be tomorrow, Paul. So tomorrow we're gonna have a full day on deliverables, which exactly is all the files and how to organize a client folder. So what kind of file you're gonna send them and which formats to use. Again, yesterday I think we were talking about how much you share with your customer. I think that was your question.
Yeah.
And I try to share as much as possible. I really, really like to make my clients as independent as possible so that, if I'm too busy to, take care of something, I know that they're already taken care of. And I found out that makes them come back because they feel that I care for them and they don't have to chase me. So it builds a really, really good relationship. And they just naturally come back to do more work. And
Right.
I think yesterday we were looking like a different variation of files. We're going to cover that tomorrow, Paul. So you're going to have that and also some mock-ups as well, which is going to be very, very exciting.
Cool.
So yeah, this is my logo and this is my website. If you want to see even more work in there is a full portfolio. And I just want to show you my logo because it reflects a lot of the kind of work that we do. I work with a very minimalistic style. I like shapes and colors in particular because I do privilege the user point of view. And I believe that if you focus on typography, colors and shape, you allow a lot of room for people to project themselves into the design. So again, we talked about the fact that a logo is not a brand. And we went through this process yesterday with mood boards. So again, feel free to go back to our yesterday session in order to have a look. Yesterday, we learned how to build mood boards using InDesign, the amazing Capture app, which apparently everyone found very addictive.
Yeah, that was a big success.
Yeah, I've seen some comments. What did you do, Kladi? I cannot even follow the live. I'm just stuck on Capture. It's an amazing app. You can do so much. And also Adobe Stock, which is very useful. So let's see what else today. That was, again, a little bit what we covered yesterday. And on today, we're going to go on the actual logo design. So we're going to open Illustrator. We're always going to start back from our mood boards already for this project. I brought some mood boards today so we can have already a starting point because as we said, mood boards are the point in which you transform your concept and your words into visual. And then with the logo, you actually make the images talk. And in fact, as you can see there, the word logo comes from a Greek, logos.
Logos.
Yeah, she speaks Greek. That's why I'm looking at her. I like to find some help on the pronunciation.
It's true.
And that's the whole point, that the logo is gonna represent all the vision, all the emotion. Because yesterday we talked about how emotional the connection is with the brand, and the brand is a synthesis of gut feeling that your customer and that your client customer have regarding the company, the product, and the service. That's the connection that you want to build, the relationship that you want to build.
We have a lot of people from yesterday that have joined
good.
again, so that's really exciting.
That's really cool.
And they're like, "Oh, you fixed the InDesign logo."
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Speaking of logos.
Yes, of course. Like Ari gave us this really good feedback, and it's something that we really need to watch out, you know. And I actually noticed why it was different, the D. So I actually fixed it even here on the previous slide.
I like that people noticed.
That's cool. Yeah, no, but it was really great for you to point it out. So
Yeah.
good. So yeah, that was just the example that I think it helps you remember the concept that the logo is not the brand. The logo is the voice of the brand. So we used a little transposition of Magritte painting, which is a surrealist. And I think it's really inspiring to go in deep, visiting museum and using Adobe Capture, if you're allowed to take your phone into the galleries, of course. I think is a very, good approach to find color palette from historic artists or just surrealistic like Magritte. So make sure that you go out and don't get stuck on the internet, so you can find a little bit more of a broad inspiration and you can move away from the usual. So yeah, let's jump into Illustrator. Let's do it.
Yeah, Wakar is ready.
Yeah, let's do it. Perfect.
Salman loves Illustrator.
Yes.
Who else loves Illustrator? What do you do in
do-
Illustrator? Do you make logos? Do you do vector drawings? Let us know.
Yes.
Pratibha is excited.
Oh, we got
Ink
10
Visible.
minutes to the
Cheers.
stickers.
I know. Cheers from Greece. Yasu Tikanis.
Yasu, I'm learning Greece as well.
Kalosithis. So, yes, Tim, thank you for reminding us. The chat and win is coming. So with the chat and win, all you have to do is stay in the chat, be active, say hello, and when that countdown gets to 0, just say anything you want in the chat. You can say where you're from, you can say how much you love Illustrator, and I'll prompt you. And then whoever wins will randomly select you, and you can win 100 stickers from Sticker Mule.
I want the sticker.
Very exciting.
When I was in the chat, I actually did want the sticker.
Yeah.
Yes, I was.
I
really
want
really-
stickers too.
Yay!
Even though I already have some. But and those of you who don't win, we still have a link for you, and Tim will put that in the chat. And you can still get a discount on stickers from Sticker Mule. But if you want to win 100 of them, stay in the chat and watch that countdown.
You better be fast typing.
Yeah.
When the countdown comes to 0. So let's start with Illustrator. Actually, before starting on Illustrator, I'm sorry to disappoint, we're gonna jump real quick back on InDesign. The reason is because we want to always keep a look at our mood board. So as you can see, that's exactly a copy of what we done yesterday, and this is the template that you guys are gonna find on your on my Behance page tomorrow. So you're actually gonna have this general template that you can use for your own clients. In this case, we're focusing the brand that we're gonna build today. I hope it's gonna be exciting for you guys. It's actually very cute. It's gonna be a logo for a kid's garment. And it's not your usual kids cute kind of thing. It's for fearless kids. So if you actually see the corporate objective here, we're gonna build a brand that is for independent kids. They're bold, they're strong, they don't listen to their parents, they like to run around. So they're a little bit like of pirates, adventurers, or they go camping. They fall down and they're not afraid to go back up. So this is the kind of fearless and wild attitude that we're gonna have to inject in our logo.
Okay.
And of course, we need to remember though that we're talking with kids and with parents. So no blood, no knives, nothing that is a bit,
And when did this client approach you? How long have you been working with them?
They've not fully released the brand. The reason why I can show is because I don't have any NDA on this contract, and they're in the process to launch this month. So I was still able to show it because they're ready to go, and we're all ready. And you'll see the journey. It was about probably 7 months ago. And when I talk about the journeys, because you'll see we went through many different variations, and we're gonna have a look at each one of them. But the reason why I want to show you this live case is because that's what happened in real life. And that's why before you get stuck in developing a logo in too much details, you'll always have to go back and check with your clients. So let's actually move forward. I'm just going to show you, once we got an idea of what a corporate objective are, I've done my mood board, so we have a little bit of imagery. They really, really like Scandinavian design, so you're gonna see a lot of black and white, and that was in my mood board research. So even in your Adobe stock library, you can find, see, I think these images are from the Adobe stock. All you gotta do is put your keywords, and let's have a look actually. If we go on our Adobe stock library, you just put Scandinavian design.
So when the client tells you, I like Scandinavian design, you just start searching that term and see what comes up.
Yeah, well, I mean, look how easy it is.
Yeah.
You know, the Adobe Stock Library is just right there in the environment. All you have to do is click on the little cloud download, and it will download in your library straight away. So all you have to do is, if you have like an empty frame, all you're gonna have to do is literally drag and drop into the frame, and you'll be able to use the image as part of your mood boards. Also, you don't have to license it at this stage because it's only to find inspiration.
Yeah. And the watermark is pretty obvious. So
Yeah.
It's
so unless unless your clients want to use the image, then of course you will have to license it and then use it and integrate it in your design. But we got an idea of what we want here. So of course these mood boards have already been reviewed by the client, and she was really happy with it. We had a little bit of a look at the competition and what we don't want, and we selected our palette. I think we're going to go back on Adobe Color and select a further palette. But those were the typography that we were going to use, and we're going to see. Let's jump in Illustrator. Those are the typography that the client is actually selected for us. So we're just going to start already from what they gave us here.
Oh, so they gave you some fonts that they liked?
Well, they selected it from our mood board, typography mood board.
So they liked the bottom ones.
Do you remember yesterday? Yesterday we showed how to import PDF comments into InDesign. So if you want to go back, that's such an amazing tool. This is actually a new feature of Adobe 2019, and you can actually go through the comments. So when I read my comments, they basically highlight these three designs. So the
so
Flow
what
Green,
she's saying is
Electronica.
She sent the client a PDF, and then you're able to import their comments that they made on the PDF straight into your InDesign file. So it's like super easy way to get feedback and keep it all in one place.
Yes.
That's great.
And also we're going to see how much we're going to go back and forth from the mood board. So you'll understand why it's so important. And again, something that I keep repeating myself, even after it's 4 or 5 years that I keep doing this, if you make your foundation in a very professional way, like we did yesterday, they're gonna serve you until the last moment. You're always gonna go back. Whenever you have a doubt, whenever you have to make a choice, it's not about your personal taste, because you need to serve the audience, the client audience. It's about what the mood board are telling you to go. So those are very important guidelines for you in order to build your brand. I think Paul asked a question about how do you jump from a designer to be an art director. Well, as we see yesterday, I got a very diverse background. So first of all, you would need to really want to be an art director. That's probably the best skill, being passionate about what you want to do. And of course, in order to be an art director, you need to have an understanding of the overall project. So you need to be able to have an understanding of the design techniques, but at the same time, making sure that you can jump from the big picture into the detail constantly, so you can work with your team. So yeah, let's jump in Illustrator. We're actually going to start a new design, but we're going to keep these as reference. So we're gonna start from scratch. So of course I've got my Illustrator open, and I'm gonna use Command N to have a new artboard. I usually start with an art and illustration artboard that you can find already in your new document. So I think the standard is the 1000 by 1000 pixel. We're just gonna start for that now. And we're actually gonna put some bleed just for good habits. Yesterday we talked about bleed and the use in print design, But in general, whenever there is a full bleed image, or there is a chance to have some images that go out of the page, is always good housekeeping to have at least 3mm bleed in your design. At least to save you time not to go back and do it afterwards.
You don't want to have to think, did I do the bleed or not?
Yeah, they're there.
Yeah, it's always bleeding. So great.
So we're actually gonna start with this little squirrel. Do you guys like this little squirrel? We need to find a name. We need to find a name for this little squirrel.
Okay, so the chat and win's in a minute and a half. So during the chat and win, I want you guys to say names for the squirrel. That's going to be what you type in the chat. Yes. Not yet. In a minute, okay?
Yes. Make sure you find a nice name, something that I can pronounce.
Something child appropriate.
Yeah, yes,
for the
especially
brand.
bear in mind your audience. So here we go. We're just gonna start from this. Of course, I'm gonna jump into copy and pasting for one reason only. You see this design here, and this is something that I've actually spent time designing on a notebook. Unfortunately, I was traveling when Adobe grabbed me to do the live, so I wasn't traveling with my notebooks. I usually carry already I've got one here, but I usually carry quite a lot of notebooks with me. And again, this was like 6 months ago, so there would have been already probably 12 notebooks to carry with me. So I don't have the original drawing, but what I did, we're gonna use the pen tool today. So what I did, I just drew on top of my own pencil drawing.
Okay.
So we're gonna use the pen tool today.
So you scanned your pencil drawing?
What I do, again, I use Adobe Capture.
Oh yeah, Adobe Capture.
I use
so
Adobe
you can
Capture.
put that image in and then draw over it.
Yes. So we saw yesterday with the Adobe sticker how you can actually use it. So make sure if you have any doubt on that, go on yesterday.
Watch
live.
the replay.
Yes.
Okay, so Chat and Win is here. Type in your favorite name for this little animal. And we'll see. Okay, start. Chat and Win. All right. So pickles, hazelnut, Pearl the squirrel, Oakley.
Cheap.
Roadkill. That's not a good one. That's funny though. Pumpkin, Pinky, Hank, Bob. Oh, Bob. I like Bob.
I like Bob. It's easy to pronounce. Bob.
Carl, Ramon, Melanie.
Oh, you guys are going fast.
Whoa.
Squash.
Chipmunks.
Oh my God, I cannot follow.
Guacamole. I like
Oh,
that.
that's cute.
Nacho nuts.
Can you follow? You guys are going too fast for my eyes. It's too early for
Fred,
me.
Squid, Timothy, Sammy, Hannah, Perry, Robin Hood, Fergal.
Something that I can pronounce, please.
Spazzy, Skippers, Nirvana, Theodore. Theodore's cute too.
Orange ball.
Pepe,
That's
Danny.
So
Wow.
naughty.
That's a lot of names. We have a lot to work on.
Lola. Oh, yeah. Let's see.
Okay, so congratulations, Andrea. You have so many names. Andrea, Eliana, Andrade, Ceballos.
Woo!
Congratulations! You win
the
100 stickers from Sticker Mule, and we hope to see what you create with them. All of you can go on Sticker Mule and actually use our code. It's stickermule.com/Adobe Live 19, and you can get a discount. It's 10 stickers for $1, so that's pretty cool.
Like the names are still keep
Oh,
coming.
look,
Terminator.
now I have orange on my shirt. Yay! I'm going to cover it again. So definitely do that. Go on that link. And Andrea, congrats. And we can go back to our regular program.
Andrea, what was the name that you put down on the chat? Because we're gonna have to use the name that, let's see, for our squirrel.
Oh.
Yeah.
Out of all the names, yeah, Andrea, what was yours?
Let's see. Hopefully, we're still there. Congratulations.
Oh, she said, I love the one with the arrows.
Yeah, we're gonna build the arrows. We're gonna transform this little sketch into the nice design together today.
Yeah.
So let's get started on this.
Oh, we have two Andreas in the chat. Andrea Rose and Andrea 4 names.
Hello. So let's go back to our mood boards here.
All right.
So one image that really that I found really, really striking and really cute was that one of the little raccoon sitting on the log, on the tree stump. I found it so cute.
So fearless.
Yeah, so he's standing there and he's watching, and he doesn't have, it's just there ready for all these adventures. So what I'm gonna do once I select an image that I find that represent all this independent, bold and strong core value of our brand, I'm just gonna select it from my mood board, copy it and paste it into the InDesign board. What we're gonna do now, we're just gonna start really basic from adding element to our little squirrel using the pen tool. So you can keep your image reference close and then just design next to it. That's one of the ways that I like doing it. So we're just gonna select our pen tool, which is up here. Let's see if I need to move my tools a little bit here, more on the right so you guys can see it. So here we go, and it's the third one on the left coming from the top. You can also trigger it by pressing the P key on your keyboard. And now we're gonna go and just start with putting our first anchor point. And then in order to create a curve, all you have to do is select a second anchor point, and you see by holding and dragging, you'll have this little handle coming through. And we're just gonna keep going. And again, if
Are we drawing the tree?
Yeah, we're drawing
the tree stump.
The tree stump here. So before placing these other anchor point, if you want to make sure that it actually is a horizontal line, what you gotta do is to hold the shift key, and you see like by holding the shift key automatically sets the line.
Lifesaver.
Yes, very big lifesaver. So
oh, Andrea says Linda. Is Linda your name for the squirrel?
Yeah, Linda.
It
so we
means
got another
beautiful
girls.
too, right?
Yeah. Muy linda. And we got
So
another
cute.
girls because we're all ladies. So even the squirrel is gonna be a lady.
Yeah, actually, why did we think most of the names were male, but I like Linda.
Yes. So I'm just gonna keep going here on the log. I'm just gonna keep an hold and pull, and then again here. And then when you see this little circle coming up, maybe it's good if we zoom in a little bit more. When you see this little circle coming up next to the anchor point, that means that you're actually closing a shape. So when you're gonna click on your anchor, you see that the shape now has a fill. We're gonna go and get rid of the fill and just use a stroke. And we can go on our panel stroke and make the stroke as big as we want. I think 1 point is actually okay for what we're doing. Now, don't be afraid when you design to overlap shapes. I'm actually going and grabbing an ellipse tool here from our menu. You can trigger the ellipse tool with the L key on your keyboard. And I'm just gonna place, the little top part of the log. Again, don't be afraid of overlapping because we're gonna be able to get rid of all this extra shape. All you wanna make sure is to intersect the line. You can have all these beautiful help with, you can read a little intersect word there and anchor. In order, just in case your InDesign doesn't shows all this information, you can actually go on your guides. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Smart guides. So you need to make sure that your smart guides are selected in your view panel. And oops, let's see, just in case I actually unticked it now. Oh, you can see there is Command U. So that makes sure that it tells you actually what you're doing, and you're gonna have these smart guides, which are a lifesaver.
Locks you into place.
Yeah, and also gives you information. Now, having a look at this stump, I really don't like the way that this curve came. I think it's, too low. I wanted to do a little bit higher. So you can actually go back into selecting your path. And if you actually go on the direct selection tool, which is our black arrow, you can select your anchor point, just one. And you see all the little white anchor points show on your trace. If we're gonna select on this anchor point, you see these two little handles. Now what happens if you start to move these handles around? Both sides are gonna move. Let's zoom out so you can actually see what happens on the overall design. So you can actually change the shape in a very, very bold way. But I just want to change this top value here. So in order to do that, with my anchor point selected, you see the difference is now become blue. We're going to go and hold our handle and the Alt key. So when you do that, if you can see the bottom doesn't change, you're actually only changing the top shape. Let's do that again. Zoom. So let's actually move only this bottom one. Can you see? And this is actually very useful in case you want to create some corners. So it actually moves one of the two handles instead of moving both of them. This is such a cool tool, I think, because it allows you to move the shapes. There is another cool tool that is hidden under your pencil. Let's have a look. It's the smooth tool. With the smooth tool, it's very useful if you have a lot of points. In this case, we don't have many points on this path, but we can still have a look at what the smooth tool does. The smooth tool, if you select is this pencil with the stripe, you gotta select your design first, your shape, and then if you go over with the smooth tool, it does exactly what it says on the tin. It starts to smooth our shape. So if you're designing type in particular and you're looking for some curves that are a little bit more harmonious, and you're not, you struggle to achieve that manually, the smooth tool, just by literally, let's see if you guys can see this little circle here. You literally go over, and what it does, it just creates a smoother line. This is
cool.
super, super cool. Again, we're probably gonna be able to see it. Let's see on this shape, which is a little bit more jagged than our log. Can you see what it does? It just creates a more rounded, and it also deletes some of the anchor points. So it makes your shape overall cleaner and much smoother. I find that very, very useful. Again, another lifesaver there.
Yeah.
And it's hiding under your shaper tool or pencil tool. You just have to open the panel and go and select the shape tool in order to use it. Right, let's move on with our stump here. So we see how this little stump has got a lot of lines. There are a few ways that we can achieve that little pattern here. You can use the pen tool, or you can use your little line segment tool and create lines, but I want to teach you something a little bit more exciting today. So we're gonna hit P on our keyboard, and I'm just gonna create a little kind of copy of our edge here. I'm just gonna leave it there for now, and we're gonna hit, can you see like it's still, the pen tool is still moving around. If you hit the selection tool, which is V, which is our black arrow, and then you select P again, it's going to allow you to jump into different shapes. Otherwise, we would have kept drawing within the same shape. So again, we want a selection tool and then the pen tool.
Paul asked about how you illustrate. Kladi just talked about her notebooks. So she was saying that she drew the squirrel in a notebook and then used capture to get that image into Illustrator and then did her vector drawing on top of it. So is that always how you do it when you're drawing?
Well, sometimes, like we're doing it now, sometimes for small objects. Of course, for bigger character, when I have to come up with a bigger character, like the squirrel, definitely. This is like, I've been sketching a lot. As soon as I'm gonna be back to the UK, if you guys go to my page, I'm definitely gonna be happy to include my drawings. But this is just, I've done a lot of drawing just with a pencil on a notebook, and I've done different shape it, and then I just traced it into Illustrator using the pen tool, exactly what we're doing now. The only difference is that if, imagine this is my sketch, I will be using the pen tool, so we go P on the keyboard, on my drawing. So let's imagine that this is my sketch. I would probably bring the image opacity down a little bit, but then the main thing that I will do is again just draw on it. So again, I'll just select. That's what happened with the squirrel there, and again, I'm just gonna be designing and drawing with a pen tool on top of the image. So then when you delete the background, oops, I think I didn't give any fill to that stroke. There we go. So when you actually delete the image and the sketch, you're gonna have the design sitting on front.
Yeah, it's very useful.
So
Paul is asking specifically about your flower illustration, maybe your plant therapy illustration.
okay, that's a completely different approach. That was drawn on an iPad. So I use an application called Draw, which is part of the Adobe mobile application. And it's actually a really cool application. I wish we had more time. Hopefully I'll be back soon and we can do something with the iPad as well, because it's really, really awesome. You can actually use the app Draw to feed vector into your desktop computer.
And
so
it's free, so you can download Adobe Draw. Just go on your app store and use it on your iPad, and you draw in vector format. So it saves a lot of time because you just import that illustration.
Yeah,
into
and
Illustrator.
you got like a pure vector file. Is an Illustrator file. So that's really amazing. That really simplifies the workflow. So let's go back on our stump here and let's do something cool with it. So again, I'm not really happy about the way this curve came out. So I'm just gonna jump on my smooth tool and edit the line a little bit. So we got a little bit of a smoother curve. And then if I'm not happy with the amount of point, I think I got too many here, we can always go back on our pen tool by pressing the P keyboard. And if you see, when you go over on an anchor point, there is a little minus coming up. And if you actually click, it will get rid of the anchor point. So it just simplifies your curve. So let's see. Oh, thank you so much, Paul. That's so sweet. I'll be very happy to put more about my workflow on my Behance page when I'm here. Or again, hopefully I will be back showing something, some more techniques using the iPad and Adobe Draw. So what we're gonna do here, we want to create different lines that go around the stump. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna select both lines. And then I'm going to Object and Blend. Now, before hitting Make, I always suggest to check what your blend options are. So we're going to go through the Blend option panel. And in this case, we got Specify Steps. If you're working with color and you want to create gradient, you can use a smooth color. But in this case, we're just going to have different lines. We're going to select the orientation. And we're going to probably let's put like 10. And press OK. Nothing happened yet because we didn't make a blend. We just kind of set the options of our blend. So make sure that you still got your two line selected. We're going to go Object, Blend, and Make. And look what happens. We have a lot of stripes coming through.
So much easier than manually.
Yes, so it just kind of fills the space, and it's actually very, very useful because it creates the same distance within each object. Now we're probably going to resize it a little bit. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hold the Alt and the Shift key in order to make a transformation which is centered and is also proportionate. Now again, don't be afraid to overlap your lines because we're going to get rid of them very, very soon using an amazing tool, which is the Shape Builder tool. Now, if you try to click on this line, you'll see that they're not active. And if you want to go on the wire of the design of the illustration by hitting Command Y, you're going to see that there are no line in the middle. So at the moment, this is just a projection of this line expanded between the space in between. In order to see the line, we're going to go back into our normal view with Command Y again. We select one of the line and we're going to go back to Object and Expand. In this case, we need the stroke selected. And now if we go back on our wire, here we go. We got all the lines that are active and ready to be used in our design. So to get rid of all these little extra lines that we have here and all this overlapping shape that we don't need, all we gotta do is select our illustration and go on our panel and select the Shape Builder tool, which you can also jump on by using the shortcut Shift-M. This is a very, very amazing tool. I don't know, are you guys familiar with the Shape Builder tool? I'm in love with the Shape Builder tool. I find it very, very exciting. I use it a lot. So, oh, I see there's someone mentioning the Wacom. That's what I use in my studio. So today I've got I've got my laptop with me, so I'm using the trackpad, but I usually have a Wacom pen and touch for my illustration. I found that like, if you're spending a lot of time on Illustrator, that's a
Good
very...
for your body.
Yeah, yeah, it's good for your hands and for your elbows as well. But let's go back and see this amazing tool, which is the Shape Builder tool. So we're gonna actually, if you see now, we got a little plus next to our selection tool. If you actually press Alt, see what happens. The plus transforms into a minus. So what the minus does, allow us to delete shape. You can see before you click on anything, make sure that you actually see the selection. So in this case, the element that we're gonna delete from the shape has to be highlighted in red. So we're gonna go ahead and delete all of this shape. There is a faster way of doing it, but we gotta delete this first line. And then by pressing the Alt key, we're just gonna draw all over the line that we wanna delete from our illustration.
Nice.
See, look what happened here. Again, make sure that you got, we're gonna fix that in a second. So when something like that happened to you, you don't have to worry. All you gotta do is, there are a few options. Let's see if one of that works. That's the beauty of doing things live. So you can select the two anchor point, and with Command J, it will join it. Those are two different paths. So in this case, the best option will be...
break them first.
Well, you can either break them, you can either press Command Z to see what happened here. So let's see what happened. Let's zoom in and go on our...
Whoa, that's a little cluster.
That's a little cluster here because we are overlapping. But that's, I like to work with some issue like that because, that's what happened in real life. When you intersect shapes, that's what happened. So what I will suggest is to go back into your wire view and have a little look. So this is what is overhanging outside.
Did you have a shortcut to go back to this view?
Yeah, so it's Command Y.
Okay.
So that allows you to go from normal view to actually see what I call the skeleton of your illustration. It gets rid of all the stroke width, so you can actually see ultimately and zoom in to see a very, very down detail. So let's work with this. I actually want to work with this issue in order to solve it. So all we need to look for are the elements that are outside the shape. Probably what happened before, we got rid of this little segment which broke our shape. But let's go back in our Shape Builder tool and press Alt to go into the minus. And all we want to select, that's what happens here.
Easy.
We're just gonna select this shape. Oh, let's see. Oh, look at that. That was the issue here.
Okay.
So the issue here is that our shape wasn't one. We actually have a break before. So what I will do in this case is simply go on our direct selection, which is letter A, or is the white arrow that is on the right here. And I'll select one of the point and I will drag it into the other shape. So as long as you have an intersection, you can create closed shape. And that will allow you to use the Shape Builder tool in a much more efficient way. So let's make sure that we have this intersection here. So that we need to have the shape actually touching. Something really cool that you can do in order not to go back is to add more anchor points. And so you'll be able to modify your design. You do that by simply pressing P. And if you select your shape, the little pen tool becomes a plus. You'll have a plus next to your pen tool. So what you would do is add another anchor point, then select A and direct select the anchor point and bring it in the shape. So now we have a more definite intersection. And let's see what happens when we jump back on our Shape Builder. So we're gonna go and select Alt, and we're gonna get rid of this shape outside here. Still seem not to work here. Let's see what's the issue.
Hey Mercedes, hey Huxel, hi Jan Eric, I'm looking forward to your puns today. For those of you that are just joining, we've been working on a logo design. So yesterday we worked on mood boards and now we're showing you how to translate those mood boards into some elements that you can use for a logo and branding.
So I actually found out what was happening here.
Oh, yeah?
So as you can see, well, we were really zoomed in and we were working on the details, but hey, let's go back to the big picture. The main shape wasn't selected. So bear in mind that whenever you work with the shape builder tool, you actually have all the shapes selected. Otherwise, it doesn't take in consideration the stroke. So even if we had the stroke and we could see the stroke there, it wasn't selected. So that's something that can happen, that happen in real life. So we need to always make sure that we zoom back to see what's going on. As you can see, the selection, the blue selection, is only on the corner. So we actually need to activate our shape here in order to make sure that we can use and we can include all that in your design. Oops. So I hit the perspective tool, which is something that we don't need, and we can go get rid of it by hiding the grid here. And we go back on our shape builder. So we make sure that we got all our design selected, and we can simply drag onto our design and get rid of the shape. Here it is. As you can see now, it doesn't affect the circle, it only affects the outer shape, which is the only image that we want to get rid of. There we go. So we got rid of that little issue over here. Perfect. Now we got to do the same with the lines. As you can see, the lines are not selected. So if we use the shape builder, again, they will not be affected. So make sure that you select the entire shape. And again, go to the shape builder, press Alt key to have the little minus, and we can just drag on the shapes that we don't need. Here we go. So we have our little log here. You can also add more elements, always with a pen tool. So maybe I will add a little curve over here just to finish it off. Again, we're just gonna go on some details today. You can, that's the beauty of it. You can personalize it. And yesterday someone was talking about, the idea of copying for the mood boards. Mood boards are there for inspiration. I'm sure that you guys can be on Illustrator and do exactly the same work that I'm doing, and it's gonna look different. That's the beauty of Illustrator and using a pen, using the trackpad. You can make it. It all depends on your decision on each anchor point, because moving this anchor point and moving the handles can just give you a completely different look on your design. So it can be very, very personalized. And I think that's the beauty of working with a designer for a client. I mean, the majority of the client come to me or come to the studio because they really wanna have a bespoke design. Yeah. So let's go back on our normal view, and
let me just say hello to those of you that have joined in the last few minutes, and I want to challenge you to submit your Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. So you can watch the replay of those. Kathleen was live with us earlier this morning, giving you an overview of today's challenge, which is to create a futuristic postcard. And if you check the challenge tab right above the chat, you can see the details and you can submit yours and we will review it. We'll give you feedback.
I really look forward to it.
Yeah, it's a super valuable thing that you can get for free.
Yes.
Just submit your design and you can have
And it's also
Kladi
very inspiring for us. Like yesterday we saw the different takes that you guys have on the actual challenge is so amazing. Like yesterday there were so many different. So make sure that you send more. So we're gonna have to review different takes on the design.
We already have a couple submissions. We have Andrea, Nicholas, and Amrita.
Oh wow!
So good job, the three of you.
Exciting.
And we're looking for many more. So submit your challenge. You have 33 minutes left for us to review it. And if you submit it after us, you can have it reviewed by Julia and Jasmine and so on. Whitney later in the day. So just keep submitting, keep creating, watch that daily challenge replay. And someone asked about the replay of our stream yesterday. Our stream is also available to replay. There's a replays tab right above this video that you're watching right now. So just click.
Yeah.
And
also
watch it.
something I wanted to add regarding the Photoshop challenge, something that I said yesterday. We know that you don't have much time to design, but something really cool, and I've seen on the other stream that some of you guys actually did it, which I'm super proud. You can send whatever you're working on and get feedback from us. And then you can resubmit it another design for the other designer to have a different feedback. So you can actually, don't worry about sending a super, this is a space for you to experiment.
We don't expect a final polished design.
No, this is more for you to get
hours.
feedback. So you can improve your design and then you can send and submit it again. So this is a learning space, We saw some mistake can happen when designing, no matter how professional you are. You can work with strokes and something like before happened, but this is a space to learning exactly how to fix those mistakes and how to work with it and make sure that we achieve a final professional product at the end.
Yeah, this is a safe space.
This is a safe space.
We're all inclusive and safe.
Yeah. So let's actually go back and design an arrow, because then we got a pattern creation coming. So we're going to learn how to create a pattern just in a minute. I just want to go and design one of the arrow. Let's see how this log looks under our little squirrel here. So I'm just going to copy this element, and we're going to copy it just by selecting it with the selection tool and then dragging it by pressing the Alt key. So let's see if you can, I'm probably going to zoom in a little more so you can see my arrow better as well. So once I select my stump, my tree stump, I'm going to press the Alt key, and you see we got a little white arrow showing up behind our black arrow, and we're just going to drag it down. Oops. Zoomed out a little bit. Let's see what's happening. Just gonna, that's unfortunate using the trackpad. This kind of things can happen. I don't have control.
And then you're like,
yeah, it's pretty much like using the phone. You just kind of pinch in and out.
Yeah.
So as you can tell, I don't use the trackpad usually. I'm much more comfortable with a pen tool. And again, Wacom is something that can allow you to go much more into detail. So let's have a decent zoom already to start with. Press Alt and drag, and we have our little stump here. Then we can also resize it, because this is probably a little bit too skinny for our Linda.
It's gonna break under Linda.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do, we can enlarge the shape, or if you want to keep the proportion. In this case, we want to distort the proportion, so we're not gonna hit the Shift key. We're just gonna make it a little bit larger.
Yeah, we don't care if it gets stretched.
No, that's what we want.
It's a natural shape. It's not supposed
and also,
to
just
be.
realized the Linda is missing a foot. So exactly using the same technique that we did by selecting and using the direct selection and then dragging, we're just gonna duplicate and give her a little foot over here. There we go.
Oh, good.
Yeah, she was missing a little paw. It's not cool. But now she's safe.
Jesus is in the chat. Hi, Jesus.
Hello. Hi. So, yeah, let's have a look. Let's build an arrow now. So we really like this kind of fearless look of our little Linda. She's sitting, she's relaxed. She's getting all these arrows on her little stump, but she doesn't care because she's fearless. And that was the look that we wanted to go for. So in order to create an arrow, I will start by using the line segment tool. And I'm just going to draw a line here. Then I'm going to go on my stroke, and I'm just going to give it a little bit more of weight, probably a 3-point weight. And I want to make sure that our cap is rounded. And what we're going to do afterwards, because we want to work with shapes, and we're going to be, using building shapes. So we actually want to work with shapes and not with strokes. We're going to just go directly into our object menu and select path and outline stroke, and see what happens there. Our line magically transforms into an object. So you can give it a stroke and a fill. It's an object now, it's not a line anymore.
Yeah.
Which you really, 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 really
There's
like.
a fine line between a line and an object.
So there is something that we didn't do, which is massively important and nobody has spotted yet. What did we didn't do? We didn't save the file.
Oh no.
So this is something that we're gonna do right now. I'm very surprised that none of you actually realized that. You can see that it just says Untitled over here. We don't wanna lose our work. So we're just gonna save Command S and call Linda.
Yay.
And just gonna place it on our desktop for now and hit save.
Do you uncheck any of these things?
No, the majority. The only time in which I actually move it around is when I have to transfer file, especially when I'm designing a logo that has to be embroidered on a t-shirt. Then in that case, I usually go for a little bit of an older version of Illustrator. So let's see if we actually, in this case, to go back to see the panel, we're gonna save a copy. So we do that by going to File, Save a Copy, and you can also access it with Command-Shift-S. And what I'll do, I'll just hit save. And then when it says version, I usually just go for a little bit, less.
Oh, a little bit older?
A little bit older. Usually the CS6. I mean, some printers...
Because you're sending it to a printer that's dealing in lower res.
Yes, so printer usually, they don't care like as much as us because they don't design. They don't use the Illustrator environment to design. So you always need to remember who you're working with. If I'm working with another designer, I wouldn't have this problem at all. But if I'm working with a printer, especially a sort of establishment that has been there for a while, so people who deal with heavy machinery, so again, embroidering, they don't really care about updating. I'm not saying that, nobody does. Probably your printer is super technologic, but you always need to bear in mind to have that option of having a file saved with a little bit older version, and you can even send both. So it just saves you time. So you don't get an email again saying, "Oh, can I open my file?" and then you open it again. It just time savers.
That's a great tip.
Time savers.
There's so many options. You're always inundated with options in Illustrator and all the Adobe apps of things that you can uncheck and different formats. And it's like, I don't know what this means. I'm just going to save. But it's interesting to hear when that comes into play and when it's important.
Yeah, and also there are so many updates. And again, for us designer, we're every day, that's our bread and butter, that's our life. So, probably the majority of you keeps updating them. You cannot assume that everyone's got your own habits.
Yeah.
So let's jump back on our arrows. Again, I always like to keep my inspiration close. So I'm just going to drag this little arrow here so we can actually have a look while we design. Again, we're just going to use our pen tool. Again, you can select P, and if you can see, if you have your smart guide selected, you have a little bit of pink stroke in the middle. So you can actually, again, by holding the Shift key, make sure that you design a straight line, and then you can go a little bit whatever you want, just following the little shape that you have from your mood board, and making sure that the middle is actually aligned with the middle of your shape. Then by using the shape builder, we can do something cool. So do you know this little white shape that we can see on our mood board? We want to recreate that. So what I will do, I will just use my pen tool again. I'll probably go and select a different color just for the purpose of have a little bit of contrast there. And then I'm just going to Command undo and keep this black because it's still selected. I want to click on the actual artboard to deselect my arrow shape and then go back on our pen tool. And now we're going to change color by double clicking on your swatch panel over here. I'm just going to select a random color. It doesn't matter at the moment. I just need it for purpose of contrast. And I'm just going to design those little shapes. I'm probably just going to do a triangle here. And then like we did before, we jump back with the key V on our selection tool and press Alt, and we're gonna drag it a little bit more down. So we got a little bit of this shape. It's already looking quite cool. Then we select the overall design and go on our shape builder. And again, what we did before, we can either delete it. So in this case, we press the Alt key and we get rid of the shape, but in this case, we don't have a fill, or we can go back with Command Z, and in this case, use the plus. See what the plus does? You actually select the shape. So what you're gonna do here, if you click on the area that is selected, you see, just get a little bit of a overlay grid on top. If you select it with the plus, it's actually extracting the shape but keeping it into place. And then all we're gonna have to do is press the Alt key and get rid of the overhanging shapes there. So these allow you to keep the shape. You can always remove it from your design, but you always, I always work with more option at the beginning. So you can always keep it there and use it in order to integrate your color palette in your design. Once you're ready with your shape, what I'm gonna do is select all these three shapes and press Command G to group them. And then I'm gonna go with my Control, so you see you got a little menu showing up, or you can use the right button on your mouse and select Transform Reflect. When we select Transform Reflect, we'll select the vertical and we make sure you don't press OK, but we actually press Copy. So we're gonna have a copy of the exactly design, but symmetrically.
Why not okay?
Because if you press OK, it's actually gonna transform your design. So what we wanna copy, we wanna make a copy of it. So that's why we need to hit copy. So this is the actual group design that we just transformed. Looks like a cool butterfly. And we're just gonna place it. Again, you can see our amazing smart guys say intersect, and we're just gonna drop it there.
I actually like that red pink color.
Looks really cool. So you can actually select your arrows, you can group it. So again, drag your selection tool all over your shapes and then group it by hitting Command G. And what I usually do when I created new elements, again, I'm just gonna duplicate it by hitting the Alt key while I'm selecting the object, and then just move it around. So we always have a copy there that we can use later on as well. In this case, because I really like the proportion of our arrow, I'm just gonna hold the Shift key when shrinking down our element and transforming it. And we're gonna put it in our little stump, in our little log there. If it bothers you that we're working in black and white and we got the pink, we can always use the A, which is our direct selection tool, and select all our red. Actually, there is another cool way that I can show you to do that. Once you are in your group element, by double clicking on your group, you can actually use the magic wand. What the magic wand does, it just selects all the elements of the same colors, and then we can go ahead and change
That's a great tip.
all of them.
Magic.
That's
Adobe magic.
Yes.
As they say.
Yes. There is actually another tool that it does something really similar here. I'm going to show you on these shapes because we already got different copies of our Linda with all our different accessory here. So there is a new feature for Illustrator 2019, which is really awesome and is a time saver. Instead of going and selecting, so let's say that the client really likes Linda, but they want their tails to be yellow. So you would have to go and select each one of the tail and transform it and change color. And if we actually want to use the magic wand in this case, it will select all the orange elements. And we don't want that. We only want the tail. So we only want to focus on the shape. So this Illustrator now, this version of Illustrator, if we go on properties, has this new amazing feature. So what we're going to do, we're just going to select an item, which is our squirrel Linda, and then we're just going to click on Start Global Edits. In this case, all we want is her tail, so we will just make sure that we select our tail. In this case, it's grouped. So what we're going to look here is for a global change. So if it doesn't appear on your properties, it's because you have to ungroup your elements. So to ungroup your elements, you can go from your object menu and ungroup, or you got a shortcut, which is Shift Command G. Either or. I usually like to do it a few times, so I'm just going to click ungroup it a few times, because when you build a design, especially when you have so many different elements into it, I tend to have different groups. So when I want to act on only one element and make sure that it's ungrouped, I just suggest to do it like a few times so you make sure that everything is ungrouped. So we're going to select the shape that we want to change, and we're going to go on our property panels. Now you see we got this Start Global Edits, and this is the very cool feature. So if we just simply click this button, it will automatically find the exact shape all over your artboards. It doesn't matter if it's a different color, it doesn't matter if it shrinks. All it's looking for is the anchor point placed in the exactly same position.
Wow, that's
this
really
is a time
cool.
saver. So all I have to do in this case is to go to my swatch and change it into yellow. And look what happens. It actually changes all over across the board. Isn't that amazing?
That's amazing. That's the third huge time saver you've shared today.
Yes,
Or
these
more.
tools,
Maybe
these
more.
tools are really, really amazing. So that's something
Yeah.
that I really wanted to show you guys.
Christina says, "Oh, that squirrel is so cute."
Oh, yes, it's called Linda.
Right. We have a name. Andrea created the name Linda. So say hello to Linda.
So let's jump on creating a pattern now. I think we can use some of the elements here. Again, why a pattern? I always like to include a pattern because when you deliver a logo, again, you have to think about where does your client use the logo? So it's going to be used on social media. And if you think about Facebook, you know, you don't want your logo to be associated to some random picture that your client picks. It's, you know, again, it's all about giving. I really believe in this philosophy of giving. The more you give your client, the more you have a chance to have your logo in an environment that you approve and you think.
But how do you balance like giving the client guidelines and not making it too much so they don't read it? You know, like if you give them a lot of guidelines about how to use the logo, is there a danger that they won't read everything because it's too much?
Oh, we're going to see that tomorrow. No, it's very simplified. And that's what we're going to actually, I'm just going to give you a little preview. So this is actually how do I present the logo for a first review. So here we go. That's another use of the pattern. So again, it's all about making sure that the client understand that you have understood what they want and their vision. And elements like the pattern, they just like keep them excited about what you're doing, and they just keep the mood. Again, they direct the vision of what you want to convey with your logo. And again, the way that they are presented is very, very simple. This is a first draft, and this is going to be available for you guys as a template because I think it's a very cool use. Let's go in preview mode. We're in InDesign now, and we're just going to hold Shift and W to have a little bit of this preview mode. And you can see, I'm just going to give a little bit of information here. When I'm going to give the file to the client, it's just going to be a folder, very well organized, and one email. So it's going to be very condensed for them. They don't have to read much, but we're going to go over that tomorrow. This is more on
exciting
on the deliverables.
I know a lot of people want to know how to send deliverables to a client. So stay tuned for tomorrow.
Yes,
Don't
that's what we're
leave
going to do.
us.
So actually being on a preview mode, I'm just going to hit escape here and go back in Illustrator. That remind me of another super amazing feature of Illustrator 2019, which is really exciting. What we did in InDesign now, which was a preview mode, is never been available in Illustrator. So it happened many times that I have a meeting, I'm still designing, I just had a feedback email and I'm adding some more elements and I really want to show to a client. But I didn't have time to build brand guidelines that we've seen before. So I didn't have time to jump back in Illustrator, but I still want to show it. Now, it used to be a little bit of uncomfortable for me to show the entire process and maybe the entire mood board to the client. I really didn't want to do that in the past. So it was hard to focus on a kind of presentation mode. And also you get all these, professional tools that the client, that can be distracting for them. So what you want to do, you really want to go on the presentation mode. So there is a way in which you can actually enter presentation mode here on Illustrator, which is very, very new. You do that by hitting Shift and F, and look what happens.
Oh, that's so great.
So we have a preview mode on Illustrator, guys. I don't know if you were aware of that, but this is a super new feature. We didn't have that before.
So whatever artboard you're on, it just shows you in preview. Cool.
That's amazing. And another thing, so I'm just going to hit escape to go back to our Illustrator. If we were looking at our design before, we use the bleed and the trim mark. There is a way in which you can actually preview your design without having all, if you have some images overhanging, let's just reshape this, resize this, just to have an idea of what's going on. There is a trim view mode. So again, if you're designing and you have all these images which is outside the artboard. Sorry, I got distracted because I was looking on the chat. Someone is asking about the Windows shortcut. So if it's it should, I'm not 100% sure, so I don't want to you quote me on that, but it should be Shift F anyway.
Michael says Shift F. So
yeah, Shift F.
I trust Michael.
Shift F, perfect. So it's exactly the same for Mac and Windows.
Yeah.
So Shift F to go on our preview mode.
Tommy says, wow, thanks for Thanks so much for all these tips. I'm out of the loop.
Yeah, they're really, really exciting. All these new feature are really, really exciting.
Well, Tommy, you're watching us, so you're not out of the loop.
Yeah. So in order to access the trim views, to actually see what you're designing without having all these images outside the artboard, you can just go on View and Trim View. This is again a new feature. So what it does, it just cuts away all the elements that don't belong into your artboard. And this is a new view in Illustrator. We didn't have that before. So this is really useful.
Trim view.
Yes. So I really wanted to show you all this cool
12
stuff.
minutes till you can submit your challenge for us to
12
review.
minutes. 12 minutes sounds like a great time to create a pattern. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do
can
it.
do that.
Let's give ourselves a deadline.
Yes,
We're
12
going to
minutes.
create a pattern, and then right when we're finished, we'll look at your submissions for the Photoshop Creative Challenge.
Yes, really looking forward to that. So let's use some of the elements. What do you guys want to use? Should we use this little...
The acorn?
Yeah, the acorn, or do you want to use the little log? Let's see.
What's your favorite
What's
element?
your favorite? Do you want to use the bear and the mountains? If you're not going to tell me what to use, I'm going to pick myself.
Let's start with a mountain, and
Let's
we'll
start with the
hear
mountain.
what everyone has to say.
Yeah, let's
It
do
takes
that.
us a few seconds to see your chats. So.
Oh yeah, we got a little bit of a delay. Sorry, I forgot about that. So yeah, let's start. So first of all, to create a pattern, we're gonna start with a fresh, new artboard. So I'm just gonna hit Command N. I usually, for good housekeeping, start straight away with a square because that's how patterns are repeated. So I strongly advise to use with a square and to bear in mind the dimension that you're gonna use. So in this case, I'm just gonna, first of all, title my file. We're gonna have Linda pattern.
Okay, arrows, bear, raccoon,
Okay, perfect.
bear.
So I'm just gonna put 3 centimeters here, and it's gonna change it into pixel for me, so we're all on the same page.
Ricardo, I'm glad you submitted. That's great.
And we're gonna get rid of the bleed because we don't need that when we are creating a pattern. So make sure that there is no bleed and that you're creating a square. So whatever dimension you choose, I choose 3 centimeter for it. And I'm just gonna hit create.
3 centimeters?
Sorry, I'm in the metric world.
That's so small.
Yeah, it's fine. That's it. That's the beauty of Illustrator.
Aw.
So Illustrator, so first of all, there are 2 cool things about pattern. They repeat themselves. So it doesn't matter how small you start, you can enlarge your pattern as much as you want, and you can cover as much surface as you want with your pattern because we're going to create a seamless pattern. And second, this is the beauty of working with Illustrator. Each single point that we're going to design is a mathematical function. So you can actually stretch it and resize it to a very minimum size and to a very big size. That's the whole purpose of using Illustrator for logo as well. I've seen many of you guys were saying that you already use Illustrator for logos, but that's one of the biggest reasons to use Illustrator.
Yeah.
You can resize without losing any quality. And you're gonna have your details nice and sharp. So we start with our square. We're gonna artboard. We're gonna save it because we're not gonna make the same mistake again.
A lot of people are saying bear, so that's the most
Okay.
popular element.
Perfect.
Rasim, you're so punny.
So we're just gonna go and grab our bear.
Vit,
Copy
it's just today's challenge for today. So you can watch the replay of earlier, but yesterday's challenge we've already looked at.
So I'm just gonna resize the bear because it's very, very big.
Large.
It's very large for our tiny little square. So I'm just gonna hit the shift key and drag it down to resize it and scale it. I think that's actually a good size. Oops. There we go. A little bear there. So if you wonder what happened to his face here, we needed to outline the stroke. So let's go back and do that again. So make sure, did you see that actually when we scale the strokes scale with it? So we can select, actually I'm gonna leave it there so we can see the difference. So we're gonna copy the bear again, but before scaling it, we wanna make sure that we go into Object, Path, Outline Stroke. So did you see that now this little stroke became an outline? So what happened there, whenever you're gonna hit the Shift key and scale it down, we're gonna have his little cute mouth looking cute still. There it is. So now we can get rid of this unhappy bear. And we can keep our happy bear here. There we go. I think this is a good size. So what else? What else? Let's go back here, find some more elements to use. I think we forgot this little fella here. Looks like a nice element for a pattern. I'm just gonna hit copy and group.
One person, oh, Henry says, is it Henry or Jenry? Says acorn. That was the only person. No one else likes the acorns?
Well, we're gonna use it on this pattern here, so everyone is gonna fall in love with it in a second. I think it's a really good pattern. It's good to, whenever I create a pattern, I try to alternate character with what I call accessories, so a little bit smaller element, just to make sure that we got a little bit of a diversity and a little bit of rhythm in our pattern. Now, the most important thing to remember when you are creating a pattern is that pattern duplicates horizontally and vertically. So you want to make sure that your right side and your bottom side of your artboard are free, and that you have a little bit of room there for the elements to repeat. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna leave a copy of our element on the side, and I'm just gonna use our selection tool, holding the Alt key, and I'm just gonna go randomly and copying our element again and again, just to give a little bit of rhythm. I'm gonna probably have different shapes. Actually, while we're doing this, I can show you another very cool. Let's see, we got 6 minutes, we can still do it. This is a very, very cool trick. So if you want to change the color, just again to create a little bit of variation, this is a super time saver. Instead of going and selecting each shape here, all you're going to do is select the entire element and go onto Edit, Edit Colors, Recolor Artwork. So you can actually go and select one color and you change it all over the shape automatically. You can actually switch the color themselves, so you can alternate your color palette. Or if you have a color palette already active, you just can click it and automatically changes the entire design
so
with your
cool.
new palette.
And then how do you switch the different elements once you've clicked that? Is it easy to switch like the cheeks to be purple and the...
Yeah, so all you do is just use the color references here. So you can actually double click and select one element. So for example, we want to change the cheek because we don't like them to have blue, we want them red. So all we're going to do, we're just going to double click on this blue and select the color that we want to use. So maybe red, and it's okay. And it changes only one element. So you have an overall control by picking a palette over here, or you can just select each single color and change it manually. Also, tomorrow we're gonna see how useful it is when we wanna work in black and white to use this palette. Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing.
Such a time saver. And to save, you're just gonna have to press OK. And there we go, we got our little polar bear. So we can actually duplicate. I'm just gonna move a little bit more faster here because I wanna make sure that I show you the actual
4
pattern.
minutes.
Yes, we're gonna
4 minutes for your submissions and for Kladi to make a pattern.
We're gonna do it. So what we need to make sure is that we leave some space at the bottom here and some space on the right. And also that we have some overhanging elements here on your left side and on the top, because those are the elements that are gonna be repeated on your sides. So I'm just gonna use another little one over here just to create a little bit of movement again. Right. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna select these elements which are hanging over, and then I'm gonna press the Control key on my keyboard, or your click with the right button on your mouse, and we're gonna go to our Transform Move. Now, the reason why I told you that it's really important to remember the size of your artboard is because we're gonna move them horizontally for the size of the artboard. So I use 3 centimeters. We're not gonna move them vertically, so I'm gonna use 0 here, and then I'm just gonna press copy. So we're gonna have a copy of the elements. So if you can see, this is exactly what's missing here is happening over there. And we're gonna do the same for this little bear here that is hanging. So I'm gonna press Control, Transform, Move. In this case, we're gonna move it vertically. So we make sure that we put the 0 pixel on horizontal and 3 centimeters on the vertical, and hit copy. And our bear is gonna be here. Now I'm probably gonna move those internal shapes just to create a little bit of movement. So all we're gonna do here is create a bounding box. We have 3 minutes. It's perfect to create a bounding box. In order to create a bounding box, I would go and select the rectangle tool from your menu, or you can just simply hit the M keyboard. And I'm just gonna click on our artboard. I want to make sure that our rectangle is exactly the same dimension on our artboard. So I'm going to be 3 centimeter by 3 centimeter and press OK. What I'm going to do, I'm also going to align it, and we want to make sure that it's aligned to our artboard. So you want to use your align panel here on your right. We're going to align it to the artboard, which is this selection over here, and we're going to align it to horizontal and vertically centered. So what happened here is that our rectangle is not the same shape. Don't worry, you can either do it manually like that and then make sure that it's aligned. In this case, again, you don't want to hit the shift key because we want to transform it. What we're gonna do here, we're gonna press Command B to make sure that this rectangle goes on the bottom of our layers, or we can actually move it manually from our layers panel. And then we select it from our layer, and we're gonna get rid of the fill. So we're just gonna hit none on your swatch. All you gotta do here is open your swatch panel, select your the entire images that you have on your artboard, because we have our bounding box there, and we're just gonna drag it in our swatch panel.
Oh.
Simple as that. Isn't that mad?
I didn't know that.
Let's try it. Let's hope it works here.
It's completely mad.
It's mad, isn't it? So all we're gonna do is select a rectangle, and
wow.
it's magic. We're gonna have our pattern here.
So you can just make that bigger and it fills it up?
Yes. So
Wow.
let's make a, even if it's like, let's have a circle or a star. Let's have a star. Let's have a big star.
Whoa.
Isn't that super cool?
That's awesome.
So bear in mind
Okay.
that what we did here, it doesn't look like we have a background. Of course, this is a transparent pattern. If you want to have a background, all you have to do is, again, go back on your layer panels, select your rectangle, copy and paste, or you can even drag your rectangle into the new layer. So you select the layer, make sure that you have it selected, and give it whatever feel you like. So in this case, we can use this little cyan. Now, what you need to bear in mind is that your bounding box is under your rectangle. And again, all you gotta do is to drag that on your swatches. Simply like that. You select everything and you drag it on your swatches. And you can have the same pattern but with a background.
Oh my gosh, 0 seconds left.
Da, 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 da.
Yes!
That was-
You did a pattern.
Yeah, perfect.
That was like right at the last second. I'm like, is she gonna change the color before 0?
Yes, we did it.
Yay!
We did.
And I hope that all of you who wanted to submit your challenge for us have submitted it. We're gonna review them in just a second. I'm gonna wait till we make sure everything is in there and I refresh and it's all done. Everyone's been commenting on the bears. So a lot of people say
I'm reading that,
they're-
that's why I'm
they
laughing
look
here.
like bank robbers or burglars.
Yeah, they are
'Cause they have
very
a
naughty
mask.
bears. That was the whole point of our mood board. If we go back, we really want, like, we're talking about a bit of naughty kids, fearless, wild, strong. We don't want them to go and rob a bank. That more idea was probably like of a superhero mask.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, those are like all work in progress design, of course. As you can see, we had the squirrel, we had a little bear, we had a much simplified version as well here presented to the client. Again, it's nice to go and play with different elements so then you can refine them afterwards. We're still on a middle stage here of creating the logo. We're not finished yet. So these feedback are going to be very useful tomorrow to make sure that we don't have no bandits. I think it was enough me having a mask yesterday on my graffiti wall.
Yeah. Okay, so we have our challenges here.
Oh, that's so exciting.
So we have Andrea. ¿A dónde tú
quieras.
So the
Wow.
challenge was to create a postcard that was futuristic using blending modes in Photoshop. So this is Andrea's submission.
I love the color palette. What do you think?
Yeah, it's very moody.
It's very
but
moody.
It still has such a clear hierarchy. Your eye goes straight to the text, and it's very clear, but it's still like
Yeah, and I
integrated.
think it's very, very well framed as well, because you get a little bit of the tree there in the very, very first point of view, but at the same time, it doesn't distract the text. So very well done. I think you achieved very, very well
Look at the
composition
moon.
there. Yeah, that's
Right
beautiful.
here.
And I want to see the car. Let's see what treatment is there on the car. Is that an illustration? Oh, no, that's like
It's a Lexus.
That's a Lexus composite. Wow, very, very well done there. I think
Yeah.
you integrated the element in a very nice way. And it's framed. I really, because, you know, it would have been a little bit more flat if you have only that text, but having the little tree showing on the side, it just adds depth into it, and it just frames it in a very nice environment. So very well done.
Yeah, good job, Andrea. And then we have Nicholas.
Oh, wow, this is exciting.
Federico. There is no past or future, only now.
This is really exciting. So
Yeah.
I really love the movement here. I'm a little bit worried about legibility. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that it's, as an art piece, it's really cool. But if you want it to be read from a little bit further away, or if it's a little smaller, it's not easy to read. So you should think about having more contrast.
Yeah, I think that's all it is, because it works beautifully, and the movement and the idea of future, and you know, it gives all this action going, is beautiful. I really love what you've done with the background. I will only try to find a way, maybe giving an outline, maybe giving it like a lighter shadow behind, so it just kind of lifts it from the background, just to kind of make the text coming out a little bit more. But overall, it's very exciting.
Yeah, I'm very inspired.
It's really cool. Just makes you want to go and do things.
Amrita, this is an interesting, whoa.
Oh, nice. Oh, wow.
Wow, this is like our new environment. Our new
Yeah,
habitat.
wow.
It's
That
like
could
the
be a
moon or
very
something.
that could be a very, very great background for
Yeah.
our. So this is really exciting. So I guess like we are missing the text here, but again, I welcome work in progress.
I was just zooming in to see.
Yeah. That's so
Yeah,
nice.
Amrita, how did you create this? Did you use blending modes, and how did you integrate all the different colors and textures?
Yeah, I love the gradient on the textures. So that's probably like using different, blending mode with different colors. Really interesting to see which blending mode she used to have. Because if you zoom in on one of the like nice loop where you get look at that. That's
It's
so
like
beautiful.
wood, kind of.
Yeah, but also reminds me like of a peacock feather. That
Oh,
you got
yeah.
all these like shapes.
Totally.
So exciting.
All right. So next is Roman. Oh, game on. This looks like yesterday's prompt as well.
Yes. I
This
think
is
this is really
cool.
exciting. Like having actually is almost, how do you call it, like an holographic projection coming from the game controller with the dates going on, and you got all these little pattern. I really love that. I think the colors are beautiful as well. They give you a full idea of the environment in which we are with all the VR technology that we spoke yesterday. So
Yeah.
it's really, really interesting. And there is like a door, like a corridor. So that adds a
Yeah,
little
it's
bit
like
of a
you're
mystery.
walking into something.
Ooh, that's really cool.
What is it?
That's really cool. What is behind the door?
Cool, Roman. And then we have Melissa.
Oh, beautiful.
Ooh,
That's so nice.
that's really cool.
Yeah, I love space. So to see all the starry sky there with all
Yeah.
the galaxy coming through, and I think it's such a nice contrast with having such a zoom in on the waterfall, but then you got a pull out of the galaxy showing in the background with all the different shades of color. It's very, very nice.
What is
Yeah.
WYWH? Let us know.
Let us know, please. We're really curious.
Women's Year, Women's Hour. What does it
It's
mean?
really cool. I really like the palette.
Yeah, it's really
Again, probably having a little bit more context. Like maybe you can add like a strap line underneath, just to explain what the letter stands for. That's probably all you're missing. The rest
Yeah.
it looks very beautiful.
All right, Melissa. And next is Axel Zapata.
Oh, wow.
Welcome to Beyond.
Okay, so we're literally,
Wow.
that's a portal to a new dimension, and I'm going.
I'm getting
that's what I'm
sucked
heading
in.
tomorrow. Yeah, this is so exciting. I really love the way that you use the shape and interact with them, and also having the gradient going through the shape. I think this is very exciting. And also we have a further shape repetition at the back. So that's really interesting. As you can see, it's got even a very light repetition in the background. Can you see it
Yeah,
out
up
there?
here.
Yeah. So I love the repetition. I think that when you use it in such a blended way, you can integrate and all this nice symbol. I think you hit the topic. I think this is very beautiful.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Welcome to
Beyond.
Amazing.
The
You can
font
still
is
read it.
pretty crazy.
Yeah. Did you design it that yourself? Or you actually found it?
Yeah, where did you find it?
Yeah, please let us know.
Oh, so,
This is so cool.
WYWH is Wish You Were Here.
Oh,
I didn't know that. I guess I should have known. Wish You Were Here.
that's so beautiful.
Andre, see you in the future.
Oh, I love that.
Oh,
I love
it's
this.
actually a postcard.
Yes.
The back.
I love this little bit of a retro gaming approach. This is very much down my street as well, because as I said before, I love shapes and I love colors, and I think that just simply those are really simple shapes, but put together you get ideas, the UFO or airplane and galaxy, and again they transform the mood just with the color, and I love the way they kind of like put a transparency on and on where they're like fading into the dark. I think you managed to achieve like a very, very strong visual artwork overall with the use of shape. I adore this sort of approach. Very well done.
Yeah, I love that. Andre, good job. Ricardo, even gravity don't keep me down.
You guys are blowing my mind today.
When
Like
I
I'm
think
so
of you.
excited. Kisses from
cool.
above. That's
Is
so
this
cute.
a song lyric? It sounds like something
Yeah,
from
let
a
us
song.
know. So let's talk about the composition here. We got many elements, and I think that it's still kept to, I think the hierarchy is still pretty good because the way you've divided the text, so you actually place it above and below, you still kept the focus of the image central, so the image is doing all the narrative and telling you the story about the environment, someone traveling to space and moving to the future in a new dimension with the vortex. So I think that works really well. And then you framed with that rectangle, so your eyes go straight into design, but at the same time you got enough space at the top and the bottom. Probably I will leave a little bit more of negative space below the illustration, just so you can have that contrast between the text and the illustration there. But I think that overall is a very beautiful composition. I love the color palette that you use. It's very, very nice.
Yeah. Ricardo says no. So is that no, this is not a song? Did you make up this copy? It's very cool.
So you're actually a poet as well.
Oh, yeah, and you don't know it.
So many
Even
skills,
gravity
guys.
don't keep me down when I think
I'm never gonna
of
sing.
you.
Like, that's not gonna happen. I'm gonna let her do the singing.
I have to always sing once.
Yeah, I admire people
Even if it's
that
a
can
fake
sing.
song.
I just don't do it for you guys. I've got too much respect for you guys.
Okay, one day the earth will be changed to a different earth.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
So we got this new super futuristic kind of pattern going on. Is that a new language? Can we zoom in on that, please? I want to have a better look. Wow.
It has some Arabic in it, right? Is it Arabic calligraphy?
We got a little bit of elements of
Wait, who was this? Oh, Abdel Rahman. Okay, so
Please tell
let
us
us
more.
know,
Tell us
Abdel
more.
Rahman, what is going on?
I want to
We
go
want
and
to
visit
know
this
what
new
this
Earth.
different Earth is.
So yeah, I think here as well, in terms of the overall composition, beautiful achieved. You got these beautiful highlights overall, and even if you see the glow around the globe, I think it works very well because you get that contrast. Again, you made it very much more noticeable on the top, so I think that's very beautifully achieved. I would probably
to
bring
zoom
the
out.
copy a little bit in terms of margin. I think
Yeah.
you can work with the margin. So if you see the distance between your beautiful piece of illustration or Arabic calligraphy, you might want to keep that top margin consistent at the bottom, so you actually put together the image. So the composition overall, it looks more like a one rather than having these two blocks separated. I think there is a little bit too much space.
I want my shirt to have stars in it.
How you try? Here we go, almost. You're probably gonna have to zoom in a little bit more. Look at that. You are in the new hair.
I need to be in the right place. There we go. Okay, that's
You're
great
time
feedback.
traveling.
Think about the spacing of your elements.
That could be a teaser for a new video game. Yeah, it's really, really cool. We just want to see a little bit more of a bolder type there.
Massimiliano, buonasera. Visual effects, visual effects. We invite you to create and share.
So we got some Italian text going on there. La vita è bella finché varia, coi piedi a terra e castelli in aria. This is really cool.
What does that mean?
So it says that life is beautiful if you keep it, if you keep doing different things, and if you keep your foot rooted to the floor, but your mind wanders into the air.
Oh,
so
like
stay
keep
grounded.
yourself grounded.
Yeah, keep yourself grounded,
dreaming.
but keep dreaming and keep exploring. It's really, really cool. It's nice that you actually use this little copy there. It's really nice.
There's a lot going on here.
Yeah, in terms of composition, the only things that probably I will edit is that white, because you got such a beautiful palette going on, and it works nicely together. Brown, pink, and cyan usually are really nice, and probably I will keep the color palette a little bit more limited as well. Maybe the text that is there in that little yellow, I will probably use the pink or the cyan. Again, you just want to make sure that it looks like one single composite. And the same, I will probably keep the white with one of the three colors that you selected. This is of course personal preferences. I love the pattern. I got a little high on top, so it's really cool that you integrate some textures and you kept the round going on. I just probably limited the color palette over here.
Yeah,
what do you think?
It's got a cool vintage vibe.
Yeah.
Wish you were here.
Oh,
that's what, now I remember, that's what the copy was in the challenge, so that makes sense. I'm like, what is this acronym? I should have thought about it. This is so cool. Look at the hand, but it's
exciting.
like you can still read the text.
Is that your picture? Do you actually take your picture? Is there a picture of your hand?
Yeah,
Be nice to know. Let us know. I really love having like the repetition of the circle and the moon over there. Again, I think in terms of hierarchy, there is, very well achieved because the text is prominent. And as much as there is overlaying, there's probably multiplying there because you can see the color kind of blending in and out, but you can still read it. So despite having so many elements, you can still read the copy and it just gives you an overall feel.
Yeah.
I really like the color palette here as well.
Who's next? Ashi. Future.
That's so cool.
That's really cool.
That's really, really nice.
Can we see those lines of like...
So this is probably like masked.
Traveling lines.
So what we have here, I love the traveling lines. I love the background. It's really, really nice. Really nice pattern. Very futuristic. It looks like the inside of a spaceship.
Yeah.
And, or at least if I had a spaceship, I want it to be like that. But what I want to zoom in a little bit on is the letter, the typeface there, because it looks like you actually masked a texture or an image. Can we just zoom in a little bit? Oh, wow. So we got some neon going on.
It looks like fibers or like a light that's in the sky that's like a firework or something.
Yeah, a little neon effect. I love the way that you masked. And the reason, that, again, we always talk about legibility. So I think it's very well done for having put that little banner. Maybe if you can zoom in.
Oh, again.
Sorry, love.
Where? Again?
Yeah, on the right. I don't know if it's our issue or you probably need to stretch the little rectangle a little bit out of the bleed there.
It's stuck a little bit further in.
Yeah, so maybe just like make sure
it's outside.
That so it's outside
you don't
the
have
bleed.
Any danger.
Because and very well done for using it, so you can actually read the word future. Otherwise, you would get lost.
Reading is important.
Yes.
Okay, we're running out of time here. Oh, there we go.
Perfect.
That was it. Perfect.
We're doing like
great job, everyone. Thank you so much.
Those are so exciting. I'm definitely gonna have another look. And again, feel free to message me if you want more feedback. You're gonna have more feedback from the other designer coming out. This is Julia. So absolutely well done, guys. It's so inspiring to see all these takes.
Yeah. So let's jump back to say to spend like 5 minutes talking about what we said today
Yes.
and what we're gonna do tomorrow, just to give a
Let's see
little
what happened here.
recap. So
We're having
Alberto was saying, is that a zombie hand? Maybe it was.
There we go. Sorry,
So
my computer
Kladi's
just...
computer was not turning on. It's happening though.
Yeah, it just froze.
So thanks everyone who submitted. Those were great.
There we go. We're
And
back on.
hopefully those of you who are still working on it will submit for Julia and Jasmine to look at.
Yeah, very well done, guys. I found it really, really interesting work.
Oh,
So-
Feven is asking what fonts you used for this. So
Which
you
one?
had
For the bear, there are many different designs.
Yeah, he said the bear.
So, a really nice way to keep your mood board always present is to have always your typography there. And what I do for this kind of question, and for myself, when I go back to my typography, here we go. The one that you were asking about is called Flow Green. So whenever I create mood boards, what I do, I always make sure that I have the name of the font that I use, and then next the name of the brand that I'm gonna use. So it's always very easy to find. What we're gonna do also tomorrow, where we're gonna put together the final deliverables of the logo, we're actually gonna have...
It's Flow Green, by the way. I think there were 2 R's in yours, but it's
There's only one.
green.
Let's have a look. We
instead
can
of
actually
gren.
double click.
I looked
and
it
have a
up.
look. Let's have a look on our window.
It says it up there on the left.
Oh, okay. Oh, we're
Flow
back on the
green.
old essential. We're on the classic essential today.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's full flow green. My dyslexia takeover. I apologize, guys.
It's okay.
Let's actually correct it here. Perfect.
Yeah.
Here it is. So if you want to look it up, that's the font. And again, make sure that you always take note of the font that you're using, so you can always jump back. So do you see, guys, how useful it is to do mood board? I have some people, usually when I teach, some students ask me, why spending so much time on collecting? Because if you do spend that time in creating very solid mood board, they're gonna sustain the work all the way through. And if you, for example, outline your text in InDesign or in Illustrator and you forget the name of the text, you can always jump back on your mood board and you know exactly what font
Or if
have you
the client
used.
is like, actually, I really like that other one that you showed me
Yeah.
like a month ago, and you're like,
Yeah,
"Ugh."
which totally happens. So
Yeah.
happens many times. You can always go back and choose the typography that you want from your mood board. It's very useful to keep them all here.
Cool.
So do you want to have a look at what they actually went for at the end for this
Yeah.
project? Because this project has been a lot of back and forward. So they actually decided to go for a very different take. We, when we were talking with the client, we realized that maybe having a single character like the bear and the squirrel, they're very, very cute, but then they kind of restrain the story into one character. And also, again, like we saw with the name, we were looking for a male name, for a female name. So we decided to go for 2 characters and to go back into what our mood board we're talking about. So a very simple outline design, very Scandinavian inspiration. So surprise, surprise, this is what the final design for this logo was.
Wow.
So completely different. And that's
Yeah.
why I wanted to keep that just kind of, we still got some elements, we got the feathers, we're gonna introduce some patterns as well tomorrow for the arrows. But overall, it changes completely. And that's what I really wanted to show you guys, you always need to keep your mood board there, because when the client, some crisis moment happen when you're actually showing this and the client goes like, I completely changed my mind. I want 2 characters. I don't want 1. You need to be ready to have a start point. You don't have to start from scratch. Your start point is going to be your mood board. So again, if you didn't see our live yesterday, make sure that you go back and actually do look at our replay, because we talked on how to build mood board, and this is going to be the foundation for your logo creation. So here we go. That was the final take on it. And I've actually created some pattern. Let's see if I can show you a little bit more on that. I think I had it on my intro yesterday. Let's see. I still don't have this project, not even on my website, because it's very, very new. I really like to work with new stuff with you guys. So here we go. So we got a little bit of the main logo on the t-shirt and on the tag as well. Tomorrow we're gonna build mock-ups in Photoshop. That's what we're gonna be doing.
Cool.
So it's gonna be very, very exciting. And also, again, creating more pattern. The reason do we have few more minutes or
No.
to start something? Well, we're gonna
No.
leave it to tomorrow.
We
I'm
have
gonna
to start slowly
wrapping
wrapping up.
Okay, that's
so we
fine.
can talk about tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll be translating our work into something that looks more polished to give the client
Yes.
and make them understand how it will look. So
Yes, so
like
tomorrow-
you showed this t-shirt.
Tomorrow we're gonna look at deliverables and mockups. So tomorrow we're not gonna have different version. Tomorrow we're just gonna work with a defined logo. And I can give you a little bit of heads up about tomorrow. It's gonna be about comics. So if there is any comics fan,
Does anyone like comics here? I don't know if anyone does.
tomorrow's gonna
It's
be
not
about
even
comics.
possible.
Tomorrow is gonna be
I love
about comics, and we're gonna look into a branding that I've designed. This is very, very recent. It's actually one of my latest clients. We just launched their new website, and we're gonna see how the pattern we created, the logo we created, is very, very interesting because it's got many different elements. It's got typography, it's got a pattern taken from, again, the mood board that we had from our comic books, and then we're gonna see how it works on a website, how it works on mobile. I've actually used the pattern of the logo for the menu on the mobile, which is so exciting because, again,
cool.
creating a brand is all about repeating and make sure that the emotion and the entire vision of the brand come through the logo and the visual elements.
Cohesive.
Yeah, in a cohesive way. The way that I describe it usually to my clients in order to stop them from using different fonts and different elements is to imagine them as a giant. So if you keep moving in a coherent way and each point of contact that you have with a client, which is a website or your t-shirt, moves in the same way, you're most likely to be perceived as a bigger element, as a bigger business, rather than if you
Yeah.
break yourself in different identities. So make sure that at least for the first couple of years of a new logo, really stress that when you work with your client. Use the same pattern over and over again. Don't be afraid to repeat because it's a new brand. It's a newborn baby.
Yeah,
People
they
have
need
to know it.
establish themselves.
Yeah, so repetition is key in order to establish a new brand. But we're gonna go
I'll
over that
stop
tomorrow.
you there. Yeah. So tomorrow, stay tuned for that. And a lot of you joined us through the
comics.
last 2 days, so that's great that we're gonna have some repeat viewers tomorrow, maybe
Yes.
some new ones. Thanks for watching, Helmut, Alberto, Tommy, Juan, Massimiliano, Carol.
Thank you so much, guys. You guys are so
Jay.
sweet. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
It's been great. So we'll see you tomorrow. Stay tuned for Julia, who's coming up next.
Yeah, thank you, Ari, for today.
was
Amazing
fun.
support. And
And
we'll
keep
see you
doing your
tomorrow.
challenges.
Yes.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, guys.